Imagine, finally landing that dream meeting with Walmart. You pitch this flawless product, and you actually get an enthusiastic yes.
Right, the ultimate dream for any founder.
Exactly. Only to realize that that very purchase order is mathematically guaranteed to bankrupt your company in, 90 days?
Oh yeah, it's the ultimate paradox of retail success, honestly.
It really is.
Because the very thing founders dream about can actually be a death sentence if they don't understand the underlying mechanics of what they're actually asking for.
So true. So today we are doing a deep dive into why over 98% of brands that pitch massive retailers like Walmart get rejected.
And why that rejection is often a total lifesaver.
Yeah. We are jumping into this incredibly insightful piece of source material from Retailbound. It was written by Johann Jacob, who's a former buyer for $2 billion retailers.
He knows his stuff.
He really does. And he outlines exactly where potential vendors fail. And more importantly, the formula for you to become part of that elusive 2% that actually gets a yes.
What's fascinating here is that this 98% rejection rate, it really exposes a fundamental mismatch in expectations.
How so?
Well, founders walk into these meetings thinking they are pitching this grand vision, right? But retail buyers, they are not venture capitalists.
Yeah, they don't care about the vision.
Exactly. They are operational risk managers. They aren't looking at your product and thinking, oh, is this the next big thing?
They're just looking at the math.
Yep. They are looking at it and thinking, is this going to break my supply chain or, cannibalize my existing category margins?
Okay, let's unpack this.
Mm-hmm.
Because to understand the mindset of a big box buyer, we have to look at the mechanics of the deal well before the founder even steps foot in the room.
Right, the prep work.
Yeah. I think a lot of inventors fall into this trap of thinking their brilliant prototype is just the golden ticket.
Oh, absolutely.
They assume they could just show a 3D printed model, get the funding from the retailer, and then just figure out the manufacturing later.
Which is a complete non-starter. I mean, reason number 10 on Jacob's list is literally not being market ready. Buyers need a fully validated, production-ready asset.
They don't want to fund your science project.
No, not at all. They need safety certifications in hand, established quality assurance processes, and a completely audited supply chain.
Which makes sense given the scale.
Exactly. When a buyer commits to putting an item in 3,000 stores, they are making a massive logistical commitment. If you are still tinkering with the mold in your garage, you represent an unacceptable level of operational risk.
And it goes way beyond just having the physical manufacturing dialed in, too. It's about having empirical proof that consumers will actually part with their money for this specific item.
Right, which brings us to reason number 2. No proven track record.
Yeah, you can't just walk in with a great idea. You have to de-risk the investment by showing momentum. You got to bring your Amazon conversion rates, direct-to-consumer sales data, or performance metrics from regional retailers.
You are bringing them data, not hope. But ironically, having amazing Amazon sales data can actually be the very thing that bankrupts you.
Wait, really? How?
When you attempt to scale into big box retail. Which leads us to reason number 1, the most critical mechanical failure for new vendors, financial readiness.
Ah, right. It's a massive plumbing problem.
That's a good way to put it.
The way I look at it, it's like pitching a prototype without financial backing. It's like showing up to the Olympics, having only ever run on a treadmill in your basement. It's a matter of scale.
That is a perfect analogy. The scale is just totally different.
Because the cash leaving your tank to pay overseas factories is flowing out at, 100 gallons a minute. But the pipe bringing revenue back from Walmart takes 90 days to even turn on.
Yep. Let's break down the actual math of that cash flow trough. Let's say you get the yes for a nationwide rollout.
Awesome. Time to celebrate.
Right. But now you have to manufacture tens of thousands of units. Your factory overseas demands a 50% deposit up front.
So month 1, massive cash outflow.
Exactly. Month 2, you pay the remaining 50% before it even gets put on a cargo ship. Month 3, you're paying for freight, customs, and warehousing.
Just hemorrhaging money.
Right. And it finally hits the Walmart distribution center. But Walmart, like most big box retailers, operates on extended payment terms. They might not pay you for 60 to 90 days after they receive the goods.
So you are floating the entire cost of production, international shipping, and domestic distribution for up to half a year before you see a single dime of revenue.
Precisely. If you do not have a robust credit facility or, millions in the bank, that massive purchase order will literally break your company.
Wow.
And think about why this matters to the buyer. It's purely about risk mitigation. If you go bankrupt while your product is halfway across the Pacific, what happens to the buyer?
They are left with empty shelves.
Exactly. An empty shelf generates zero revenue and actively damages the store's relationship with the consumer. That's a buyer's worst nightmare.
That exposes a huge blind spot for most founders. They are optimizing for product brilliance when they should be optimizing for supply chain resilience.
Got on.
But okay, let's say a founder has this figured out. Let's say they have the capital, their manufacturing is humming, and they have the historical sales data. The tank is full.
Right. They're ready to go.
Even then, the fundamental math of their specific product might be completely incompatible with the retailer's ecosystem.
This is where we have to talk about pricing strategy, which is reason number 7. Uncompetitive pricing.
Walmart's entire identity is built around the concept of everyday low price.
Yeah, that is not just a marketing slogan to bring people in the door. It is the mathematical reality that governs every single decision their buyers make.
Right, so a brand has to rigorously optimize its cost of goods sold. You can't just slap a standard retail markup on whatever it costs you to make the product and call it a day.
No, because the buyer is working backward from a very specific retail price point that their customer expects.
And they have strict internal margin targets they must hit to remain profitable. So if your manufacturing costs leave no room in the middle for the retailer's margin, the conversation is over.
The math simply won't allow for a yes. And this leads into reason number 9, another crucial mathematical reality that frustrates founders, the required mass market appeal.
Okay, I'm going to push back on this a little bit.
Oh.
Because everywhere you look in modern business strategy, especially in e-commerce, we are told that the riches are in the niches.
Sure, yeah.
The prevailing advice is to build highly specialized premium products for a dedicated demographic. Why wouldn't a massive ecosystem like Walmart want a highly specialized premium product to attract a unique demographic?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of physical retail operations, we have to stop looking at Walmart as a store and start looking at them as a commercial real estate company.
No, that's an interesting shift.
Yeah. A shelf in a big box store is some of the most expensive and valuable real estate on the planet. They have a finite amount of square footage.
So they are evaluating your product based on its rent-generating capacity per square foot.
Exactly. It's effectively a real estate calculation based on velocity. They aren't judging your product's inherent uniqueness. They are judging its ability to move volume through that specific 12 inches of space.
Because the opportunity cost of stocking a niche product is just too high.
Right. If a highly specialized gadget sits on the shelf for 3 weeks waiting for that one specific premium buyer to walk down the aisle, that space is underperforming.
It's wasting rent.
Yes. Walmart's economic model requires extreme velocity. They cater to a massive value-first demographic. Your product has to appeal to the broadest possible base to generate the inventory turns necessary to justify its physical footprint.
While new strategies are brilliant for building a loyal DTC following where shelf space is infinite,
Big box physical retail demands mass market benefits. You just can't dedicate valuable shelf space to a tiny niche.
that clarifies the barrier completely. If your product is too narrow, the velocity math will disqualify it.
Okay.
So let's fast forward in our scenario. The founder has the supply chain capital. Their COGS allows for the perfect mass market price, and they have broad appeal. Now they are actually in the room where it happens.
Face to face with the buyer.
Exactly. And yet the source material notes this is where a shocking number of brands completely self-destruct.
Yeah. It all comes down to empathy for the buyer's incentives. Or rather, a total lack of it.
Reason number 6. Poor buyer research.
Right. Walking into a meeting without intimately understanding the category architecture, the competitors, and the specific metrics the buyer is evaluated on, it's the fastest way to get a no.
I just have to ask, how does someone land the most important meeting of their life with a giant retailer and not bother to visit the store or research the competitors?
It sounds crazy, right? But founders often suffer from tunnel vision. They are so obsessed with their own product, they forget to look at the landscape.
They spend 4 years obsessing over a prototype. They know every millimeter of the design, every patent claim.
And they assume the buyer is going to be just as enamored with those features. But the buyer isn't paid to find cool features.
Right.
Buyers are compensated to protect and grow category margins. They manage a portfolio. If they pull a reliable seller off the shelf to make room for your untested product and it fails, that buyer risks missing their quarterly target.
It's a direct threat to their career.
Exactly. So this ties directly into reason number 8, weak presentation. Your pitch shouldn't be, look at this incredibly innovative feature.
It needs to be, look at how replacing the bottom-performing item in your category with my product increases your overall margin by 1.2%.
Yes, without cannibalizing the sales of your existing top performers, you have to speak their language. And you cannot speak that language if you haven't done the tactical groundwork.
Which means physically going to these stores.
Jacob is very specific about this advice. You have to physically visit multiple Walmart stores before the meeting. You have to analyze competitor pricing right there on the shelf.
You need to understand the physical context. You need to see the cross-merchandising strategies they're employing.
Right. Your presentation must be a highly structured, data-driven narrative with clear differentiation and performance metrics. If you can't articulate a value proposition that highlights your differentiation from the 3 items already sitting to the left and right of where you want to go,
The buyer will just struggle to see the financial upside of taking a risk on you.
exactly, it'll just flatline.
Okay, so you master the pitch, you've walked the stores, you've presented a bulletproof financial argument, and the buyer says yes. You are in the 2%.
Congratulations.
The purchase order is signed. But as we move into the final phase of this analysis, it becomes clear that getting the yes is not the finish line.
It is just the starting line.
Right. Getting on the shelf is one thing, but actually selling the product requires a whole new strategy.
And this is where the brutal reality of the physical retail environment takes over. Reason number 3, poor packaging.
Oh, this is huge.
In a direct-to-consumer environment, your packaging just needs to survive the mail and look nice in an unboxing video. But in a big box store, your packaging is your only salesperson, and it has about 1.5 seconds to close the deal.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about the Walmart shelf, like a crowded, noisy party.
Oh, I like that.
It is an overwhelming sensory environment. You have harsh fluorescent lighting, the noise of a massive store, and a wall of hundreds of colorful boxes all screaming for attention.
Yep.
If your packaging doesn't shout your value instantly, you're just blending into the wallpaper. A minimalist, sleek, matte black box that looks incredible on an Instagram ad might completely vanish into the shadows on the bottom shelf.
The environmental context dictates the design. Confusing, dull, or low-quality packaging is an instant killer. It must instantly communicate its core value proposition and use durable materials to a totally distracted shopper.
That it's not just about the box itself. It's about proving to the buyer exactly how that box integrates into their ecosystem. Which brings us to reason number 4.
No merchandising plan.
Right. The source material highlights the necessity of bringing comprehensive merchandising plans and display mock-ups to the table. You got to help the buyer visualize the product in store via planograms.
And the strategy here isn't just handing the buyer a map of where you think your product should go. It's about using that planogram as a weapon of persuasion.
How so?
When you hand a buyer a fully developed planogram, you aren't just showing them shelf placement. You are proving that you deeply understand their store traffic flow. You are showing them how placing your product next to a specific complementary category will increase basket size for the consumer. You are doing the visual and spatial calculus for them, making it operationally simple for them to say yes.
You're de-risking the physical implementation for them.
Exactly. But even with perfect packaging and a brilliant planogram, there is one final failure point. Reason number 5, a weak marketing plan.
This is the one that catches the most brands completely off guard.
This raises an important question, perhaps the single most vital question for the survival of any retail vendor. Who is actually responsible for selling the product once it's on the shelf?
There is this pervasive, incredibly dangerous assumption among founders that once you secure a spot in Walmart, you've made it.
Right. They think the work is done.
Because millions of people walk through those doors every day, they assume the sheer volume of foot traffic will just guarantee sales. They think Walmart is going to do the marketing for them.
And that is a catastrophic misunderstanding of the relationship. Walmart, Target, Costco, they are providing the physical distribution network.
They provide the shelf space.
Right. But you, the brand, are still fundamentally responsible for driving the traffic to their stores to buy your specific item.
They aren't going to run television ads for your specific spatula.
Exactly. You must outline a strategy including social media, PR, influencers, and retail ads. If you don't have the budget and the infrastructure to drive people to local stores, your product will just sit there.
And if it just sits there, you trigger that velocity problem we discussed earlier.
Yep. Low sell-through means you are underperforming on that expensive real estate. If your product doesn't move, it will be marked down, cleared out, and pulled from the assortment just as quickly as it arrived.
So what does this all mean?
Well, when we zoom out and look at this entire mechanical journey, it fundamentally changes how we should view big box retail.
The formula for success, as laid out by former buyer Johann Jacob, is just uncompromising preparation. Do your homework. Build an unshakable operational and financial foundation.
And be completely retail ready. Getting into Walmart isn't a lottery win, it's an operational marathon.
Absolutely. And for you listening right now, you now know exactly how to avoid the pitfalls that trap 98% of businesses, whether you are prepping for Walmart, Target, or Costco.
You understand that getting on the shelf isn't the finish line. It means the most expensive phase of your marketing journey has just begun.
Exactly.
And that reality about the marketing burden brings up a really fascinating dynamic to consider. We just established that modern brands must capitalize and execute their own digital ecosystems, social media, PR, influencers, just to drive foot traffic into these massive physical retailers.
Right. The brand is the one generating the demand. The store is just capturing the transaction.
Exactly. So I will leave you with this final thought to mull over. If a brand has to rely almost entirely on its own digital campaigns and PR just to drive foot traffic into a massive retailer,
Right.
who is really leveraging whom?
Oh, wow. That's a great point.
Right? Are giant brick-and-mortar retailers still the ultimate tastemakers that ignite successful brands? Or are they slowly just becoming convenient, physical fulfillment centers for brands that have already built their own digital empires?
That completely inverts the traditional power dynamic of retail. It forces you to look at every big box store you drive past in a completely different light.
Definitely.
Well, keep questioning the underlying mechanics of the world around you, keep looking beneath the surface, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.